Hello. Nice to see you. Welcome. Welcome.
I think we're going to wait a few more minutes and see if some other people show up because I have about 30 people signed up and we have
Okay.
four here. So if you guys don't mind waiting, we'll just wait a little bit.
But you can unmute and tell me how you are.
Mhm.
You're surviving the summer heat wherever you are. Elliot, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Thank you for joining. You too, Janine and Teresa and Kat. Lovely to have you all.
I think you guys have joined us before, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have.
Yeah.
I
I see.
recognize both your faces.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have a fun little class today. We're going to talk about moon milk, an ancient Ayurvedic favorite.
Is it also good for like boosting the immune system?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, especially with the ashwagandha, you know, which is good. This stuff is amazing.
Do you have the Shatavari one at your place, Alana?
I do. I have all of them. I have Brahmi, Shatavari. I have Arjuna. I have the turmeric super ghee. Yeah, I'm well stocked just in case my body needs help. Yeah, and I also have the triphala super ghee, which I also take, which is wonderful. I mean, the triphala ghee, and that's great too. And of course, I have garlic ghee because I can't live without it. And then I always have original ghee, and I think I also have some nitro kiwi ghee and an Indian dessert ghee.
You've got everything.
I love ghee. Hey, I lived in India for a year. I mean, I was like, you know, ghee becomes like attached to your back pocket or something, right? Hello, Alicia. Welcome. She's connecting. I don't think she heard me yet.
Probably not.
So, yeah, this is going to be good. Now Alicia is connected, and welcome, Alicia. Thank you for joining us. Courtney, I don't know how doing this from my iPad to access the chat room. If somebody brings up a question, like if I click on the more, I can't. Oh, there it is at the top. So
You see
maybe, yeah, I see it now. Okay, I didn't see it earlier, but we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we are good. So,
Well, it's been 5 minutes. I don't know.
so shall we go ahead and start?
We just start.
Okie dokie, good. So welcome everybody. My name is Alana. You all know me very well. Maybe some of you don't, but my last name is Sugar, which is strange, I know, for a nutritionist. But welcome to our moon milk class. So I'm actually going to tilt this down here so you can see what I'm doing here. And just let me know if you can't see, but I think that should do it from my vantage point. Are we good? Can you see okay?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? Let me just make sure here that I've got plenty of light on there. Okay, there we go. Better for me too. All right, good. So you can see that. So I'm going to talk to you about moon milk, but also we're going to talk a little bit about the mishri sugar that we're using and some other things too. And then I'm going to make the Body-Boost Ashwagandha Moon Milk for you. And then I've also given you another recipe that also contains ashwagandha because it's such a good boost for the immune system. And it's a very important herb in Ayurveda for increasing stamina and vitality. And it's actually used, you know, it can be used, you know, long term. You don't have to just use it once or a few days and stop. It's really awesome. Moon milk. Anybody have any questions? Did I miss anything? Courtney, interrupt me if anybody says anything in the chat or has any comments, since I can't.
You got it.
Okay, thank you so much. So moon milk is actually a hot beverage, and it's based on milk, and primarily it's based on cow's milk. Although in India, from time to time, you will see this kind of milk made with buffalo milk. And many times I had that too. It has its roots in ancient Ayurveda. It is a delicious and really soothing beverage that can easily be tailored to anyone's specific dosha or an imbalance that they might be going through in their life, right? So for thousands of years, Ayurveda has expounded on the virtues of cow's milk. And there actually is a reason for this, because when it's properly heated and infused with spices and herbs and ghee, it becomes particularly medicinal and healing to the body. So why cow's milk? Okay. So according to Ayurveda, milk is really a very unique substance in that it provides a nutritional advantage that you cannot derive from any other food. Now, that's not to say here that you can't make the moon milk from, you know, a non-dairy milk type, like a plant milk, because certainly we would say, and I'll just pull this up so you can actually see me here. Certainly we would say that people do have allergies to milk. I mean, there was a time when I wasn't drinking any milk for many, many, many years, or eating any cheese or any dairy products, just because they so affected my sinuses that I had sinus headaches when I did. So it wasn't worth it to me to go through that kind of pain or be awakened with that. But the A2 milk is different for me, and using the Ayurveda principles makes it where I can easily digest it, and it does not bother me at all. It is absolutely brilliant, and that is making of the moon milk, or the spiced hot milk, right? So actually what I'm going to do here is pull it back down, because I also want to show you this. Hopefully you can see, this is the milk that I'm going to be using here. And this is actually an A2 whole cow's milk. It's unhomogenized. You can buy, if you have access to raw milk, that's actually wonderful, if not preferable. And if not, then, if you can go to a farmer's market and get the milk that's coming from grass-fed cows, that's great. This is a milk that I can buy easily at Mom's Organic Market. It's a local pasture-raised cow's milk. It's A2 milk. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a nice layer of cream that floats to the top. And in Ayurveda, it's very, very important that the milk be unhomogenized, because they say in Ayurveda that the process of homogenization, or infusing the fat molecules throughout the rest of the milk, the cream, just to make it blended and stable, really disrupts the nutritional value and the healing value of the milk. And according to Ayurveda, can interfere with the circulation of the body. This is what Ayurveda tends to say. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this milk into my saucepan right here. Okay. And I'm going to add some spices to this in a second. But I also wanted to tell you a little bit more about this. So when the hot milk, when milk in and of itself is properly digested, it is extremely nourishing to all of the body's tissues. And when it's prepared with spices, it lightens the natural heaviness, of the milk, and it brings the quality of the spices to the deeper layers of the body. Okay. And ghee will actually do the same thing. And when you blend ghee then into the hot milk, it just doubly makes that, that beautiful, healing, soothing beverage. It calms the emotions, soothes the spirit, it balances each dosha when properly prepared, and it promotes a substance called ojas. And I remember very well, we used to hear a lot about this when I lived in India, the importance of a diet that is sattvic, so that the ojas, which is like a highly refined substance, they call it the vital energy, really, or the core essence of the body that nourishes all of the tissues and is responsible for the healthy and optimal functioning of our bodies. When you do that, your life just becomes much better, more vitality, more strength, stronger immunity, but even deeper, it nourishes the body on an emotional level so that you become more content. It's a deeper level of happiness, which doesn't have to have an outside cause. It's like, do you know what I mean by that? It's like happiness that doesn't have to be there for a specific reason other than the fact that you are, that you exist, right? And that is a really amazing and beautiful state to be in, just to be joyful because you are. And that's one of the many gifts of nourishing the ojas, this vital essence of the body, can help to bring to us, right? So we know that milk can be hard to digest. And in that case, if you cannot digest it or use the cow's milk, you can still make moon milk and add that ghee to it to help bring in those properties. Ayurveda has often mentioned, taking soaked almonds, 6, 7, 8 soaked almonds, soak them overnight. You can even peel them and then put them in a blender and make almond milk. And that's also very rejuvenating to the body. It's often made with spices and dates. You could do something like that, heat this up, and make that kind of milk. Don't think you can't, but if you can tolerate the cow's milk, it is really the best way to go. Courtney, do you have any other thoughts on that? Or do you think I've covered everything about that?
Well,
I know you've been, yeah.
I did have a thought when you were talking about feeling like happy just from existing. I was very, very sick in my childhood and through my early 20s. And I remember feeling like I was trapped inside my body. Like I was a soul inside of a physical body, and I felt very like in the pain and it made me emotionally unhappy. But when I started to resolve those issues and began healing, I remember waking up one day and for the first time feeling like I was one being. And
that's
like I was
beautiful.
Something stuck in something else. I remember just feeling like all together, and that gave me a sense of happiness just from like being one with myself. So it sounds a little woo, but I just felt really, really good. And so I kind of related to what you were saying in that moment.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any thoughts or want to say anything about their own experience with that? Okay. The most wonderful thing about it is that we all have this capacity within ourselves to go to sleep at night, giving ourselves suggestions for well-being as we fall asleep, because we take those suggestions deep into our subconscious, and waking in the morning feeling happy, joyful for no reason other than the fact that we just exist, And then, of course, we can always name things that appear to be external to ourselves, our family members, our delicious food, our mates, or our cool cat or awesome dog or whatever, for sure. But our happiness doesn't really depend on that, and that's also a beauty about meditation too, and learning to turn within and to understand that we are really whole and complete unto ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't form relationships with other people and animals and other things, but we are whole unto ourselves naturally, and we do have the capacity within our own being to experience happiness, joy, and even bliss, which is also natural to our being, right? Good. So any thoughts before I continue on my moon milk and put my spices in? All right. So let me go on to say that foaming and boiling the milk infuses the milk with prana, or life force. That's wonderful, vital life force that runs through all of us. It changes the molecular structure of the milk, and it makes it easier to digest for human beings. So particularly, this is true for the kapha dosha, which may find itself congested from milk. And that was what was happening with me, is that if I had any ice cream, if I had milk, if I ate, cheese, I would wake up in the middle of the night with a horrendous sinus headache. I mean, it was like on the top of my head. It was like this brick on the top of my head. And then the next day I would sound like I had just a terrible cold, even though I felt great. And that was what would happen to me with the dairy products. But by taking the milk infused with spices and boiling it, like I'm going to show you today, so you can actually see it being infused with this prana, it completely lightens that heaviness. Okay. Also, Ayurveda has repeatedly told us that there's a way to drink milk and a way not to. And in every case, the milk should be boiled and taken warm, unless we are baby cows, calf, but even then the calf drinks it directly from mom's body, right? And it's warm. So to take it out of the raw milk, out of the cow like that would be warm, you would see. But it should be taken warm or hot for the most part, or at the very least, room temperature. Now, those people who are not sensitive to milk so much, they can get away with having some yummy ice cream and a nice glass of cold milk. It's not really an issue for them, but it is also important for the rest of us, like myself, that it be hot. And certainly in Ayurveda, they never recommend ice cold milk. So, okay, moon milk is typically prepared with spices, herbs, and or ghee and a natural sweetener. But depending on the spices chosen, it can pacify specific imbalances, okay? While there is no one recipe for moon milk, almost any spice can be infused into the milk, but most typically one or more of the following are used. That would be turmeric, of course, ginger, cardamom, nutmeg, or mace, which is also wonderful, black pepper, which also works synergistically with the turmeric, and cinnamon. Now, other ingredients like fennel or lemongrass can also be used, and there are other things too. I mean, you could literally, boil some ajwain seed if you wanted to, or some cumin seed. It would give it a different kind of flavor, but it could be working for you as well. Spices help to reduce the natural heavy quality, like I said a little while ago, and thus reducing the potential for the milk to cause congestion or sinus problems. So moon milk is useful for deep relaxation and sound rest, which is really important. I've also noticed when I take it that and I love taking it during the winter, because you just almost immediately feel this wonderful warm sensation just blanket your entire body, and it's absolutely wonderful. It is generally taken at bedtime to calm stress and anxiety and to promote a restful night's sleep. And the recipes that I'm giving you here and what we're going to be doing here in just a second are focusing on ashwagandha, because ashwagandha is definitely that immune enhancing herb that is used to support a healthy brain, a healthy nervous system, among other things. And it's often taken infused with ghee, like we're going to do here, or you can take it as a churna, a powder. And that's why I've given you the other recipe, or the all-around magical moon milk also has ashwagandha in it, but it's got that ashwagandha root powder, which you can also use. So we've got several moon milk recipes that I've got 2 up on the site right now. I'm going to post all of the others too here shortly, get everything up, but we'll start by showing you this. Okay, so I'm just move you down here. All right, so it's time for us to add our spices. And we're going to start here with about 1/4 to a teaspoon, depending on how much cinnamon you like. So I love cinnamon. I'm going to go here with about 1/2 teaspoon, probably a generous 1/2 teaspoon. There we go, like that. And then the next spice is going to be some green cardamom powder. There is black cardamom, but this one, it's not used nearly as, often as the green. They call it green, even though the color of the actual cardamom is not, but the pod is. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. That's about 1/4 teaspoon here. Then I'm going to go with some nutmeg here, and this is some freshly grated nutmeg here. I'm going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and I'm actually going to keep this nutmeg out because I want to use it to kind of garnish this when it's finished. I've got some turmeric root too, and I'm going to do about 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric root here too. And that'll give a nice little color. And I've got black pepper and another 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper, which again works synergistically to help the curcumin in the turmeric to be better absorbed. And I'm going to hold off on the ashwagandha ghee until after this is ready. Okay, and the same with this wonderful mishri sugar, which I'll tell you about here in just a second. So what I'm going to do is take this and put this over on my stove here, and then I'm going to get you and take you over there too, so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, can you guys see that okay? All right, I'm going to assume you can, because everybody good? Yeah, all right, so I'm just going to turn this flame on. Actually turn it on probably around a medium to a medium high heat and start stirring it here, because I want to get the spices incorporated, and it will do that more so, of course, when you know, when the milk gets hot, right? Just make sure. I can't see unless I bend down here. Is that good? Yeah, okay. So there we go. So what's going to happen here is this is actually going to get very bubbly and foamy. And in Ayurveda, they actually say that the milk needs to really boil. And when I mean boil, I mean it boils up high, like really does. And you can just pull it off the flame there, and you know, it'll kind of calm back down. And you can actually do that 2, 3, or 4 times. Let the milk rise up with all of these bubbles, and that is literally removing the heavy qualities of the milk. Okay, it's removing that. So I'm going to do something here. You guys tell me if this is better for you or worse. Is that better? I just turned the light on this area, or does it matter? Doesn't matter? Okay. All right, so there you go. So I'm going to stir again here. There we go. Now, typically in Ayurveda, it is common to add some kind of sweetener to this, okay? It's not necessary, of course, but it's done frequently. And there are certain sugars that are good for each dosha, right? So each, for example, the vata and the pitta dosha do very well with different kinds of sugars, like the mishri here, which is actually good for all doshas, but kapha in strict moderation. But also the organic cane sugar that's raw organic brown sugar, maple syrup, maple sugar, all of these can be pacifying to the vata and the pitta dosha. Vata being the elements of air and ether, and pitta being the fire element, fire and water. And they need the sweet taste. That's part of their balancing, right? The kapha dosha, which is the element of earth and water, and you know, when you blend earth and water, you get mud, which is actually necessary. It's fully nutritious, and the earth needs mud, but it's also sluggish, right? And for that, raw honey, local raw honey is recommended. However, the honey must not be heated. In other words, it should be warm only. So if you make moon milk, or you know anybody who's making it that is dealing with either a kapha imbalance or their primary dosha is kapha, then they would want to use that local raw honey, but they want the moon milk to cool down until it's warm. So less than 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it's boiling at 212 degrees, you know, you'll definitely want to let that sit for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And then, you know, make sure that it's nice and warm, but not hot. And then you add that raw honey, and that keeps that raw honey intact, right? So good. Let's just stir this and start to see I'm already starting to see the bubbles around the edges here. There we go. Okay. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the mystery sugar that we're doing. It sounds like mystery. And to some people, it might actually be a mystery sugar. It's called Sita, S-I-T-A, Sita, in Ayurveda. And it has actually been used for thousands and thousands of years. The word Sita means white. And let me see if I can show you here on the inside. You can see it's a white rock sugar, right? But it's not made from cane sugar. It's not made from the cane, just sugar cane. Okay, it's a crystallized rock sugar. Now you can crunch it up, crush it, or use it whole, and it melts very quickly. And it's the same sugar actually that's used in the Chyawanprash. You know, the Chyawanprash, that wonderful body boosting. It's usually, not always, but it is used. Can you guys see that this is starting to move and really get some nice little bubbles in it? That's exactly what I want there. So the mystery sugar is actually made from the sap of a palm tree called the palmyra. And that is why it's also known as palm candy. The sap is heated very gently just to remove impurities once they collect the sap. And then it's poured into molds and it's cooled. And then when it cools, it solidifies. Okay, here we go. There you go. So I'm gonna let that, but I need to stand and watch this very carefully or the whole thing will bubble over. But here it's being infused now with all that prana. So I'm gonna just pull that off real quick, stir it down a little bit and put it back. And I'm going to time this now for about another 9 minutes or so. There we go. We'll get a nice boil in there. Okay, here it comes again, boiling up. So again, my flame is on medium high and it's just boiling. There you go. And there you go. I love it. Pull that down, stir it down again. And I'm going to let it do that. Okay. Good. So, like I said, the sap is solidifies, right? It becomes hard and translucent when you look at it, and it's uniquely sweet. And it is used actually. It's actually documented in Ayurvedic texts. Hang on one second, I'm gonna have to do this again. It comes up here. Let's see how far this is gonna go up here. All right, there we go. There. All right, actually, I'm gonna let it do that, and this is fine, maybe another time or two, and then I'll let it continue to boil, but on a lower flame, but you still have to watch it. Okay, so to continue here, as I watch this, its use is documented in ancient Ayurvedic texts as a natural support for good health, and it is used medicinally and helps to pacify, again, the Vata and the Pitta dosha, okay? Now, the color of mishri can actually range between white and kind of a reddish brown. It could be like a pale yellow. And this depends entirely on the sap, you know, that is used from the tree, okay? That's all that is. It is a low acid sugar that is easier to digest, and white cane sugar is acidic. And the differences really are due to the processing. So the mishri, according to Ayurveda, then balances the Vata and the Pitta dosha, which, like I said earlier, need that sweet taste, right? Whereas ordinary white sugar really doesn't have any therapeutic benefit. The mishri actually does, okay? It does. It has the qualities of the natural sweetener, and also tends to retain vitamins and minerals and some nutrition. Okay, let's see what else. I don't want to forget to tell you anything here. Yes, okay. Some differences, that's it. What are the differences between regular sugar and the mishri sugar? Because the mishri sugar is often white and kind of translucent and a little bit different, but it looks just like white rock sugar, right? So the difference actually, let me just turn this down, I think, a little bit. Throw that down here. Okay, so the difference is that sugar is actually processed by extracting the juice from the plant and then heating it, and it removes the water. And then mishri is made by heating the sugar literally until it crystallizes. And then they form it into small chunks or pieces. So it's really considerably less processed than refined white sugar. And again, I'm going to open this and kind of show you what that looks like while this continues to boil. So you can kind of see that. You see the tiny little pieces there. They're about 1/4 inch there. And very much like a rock candy. So you can even, you know, if you feel like there's an imbalance, if you're hot and bothered after coming inside, you know, from being in the heat, you can take just one of those or 2 of those little pieces of mishri in your under your tongue or in your mouth and suck on them and enjoy that. Also, the uses for mishri, it's typically used in Indian sweets and desserts, and also, of course, in Ayurvedic medicines. And the nutritional value, again, is that it is pure, more pure and unrefined, regardless of the fact that it's white, again, because it's not cane sugar compared to ordinary white sugar. So any questions about that? Let me get this down. Can y'all see what's going on here? So this is, the milk is actually really reducing here. Now you can go ahead and boil this, you know, 5 minutes even, or 10 minutes. You know, I usually set it for 10 minutes and we can, you know, but it cooks down quite a bit. It's lovely. Actually, I think what I will do is stop because we don't need it to be too much because I let it boil up several times. But can you see
Alana,
that? Yeah.
You have a couple questions in the chat.
Okay. Well, let me turn this. How long has it been? Oh, it's been almost 7 minutes. So this is fine. All right. I'm going to pull this over here and I'm going to pull you back over here with me. So hang on 1 second. I'll bring you over. We'll answer those questions. Okay. Let's see here.
I didn't know you would talk so much about sugar today. It's very appropriate considering your life.
So weird, right?
Huh?
Ha ha. I'm going to grab a little mug here. There we go. How's this for a cute mug?
Very cute.
Okay, so yeah, question.
Did you answer the question about Pitta Kapha dosha, the best sugar to use?
For Kapha dosha, yeah, honey. Raw honey is best for Kapha dosha.
Pitta Kapha?
For if somebody is Pitta with Kapha, they can probably get by with just about any natural sugar, but in moderation. You know what I'm saying? In moderation, definitely. So I just poured that. That's great because Pitta is predominant, but they do need to be careful because, you know, too much sugar can aggravate the Kapha dosha. So it would make sense that in the summertime, they would work more with the Pitta dosha. And then in the fall and the winter, or I'm sorry, in the spring in particular, they would be working more with the Kapha dosha, right? And so that would be a time to reduce that Kapha by reducing the sugar. Does that kind of make sense? Good. And is there another question too?
Yes. Would mishri be better than jaggery? How do they differ?
Well, they differ. Jaggery is actually from the cane, and the jaggery is a very nutritious sugar. So they would both be excellent to use, and both are used in Ayurvedic medicine. So you can use them really interchangeably, whatever you want. You know, you don't have to use one or the other. I've got a lot of moon milk recipes I'm going to eventually post to the site that actually do use jaggery, especially the Ayurveda jaggery, which is infused with wonderful spices. So that's a great question. You know, it might just be whatever you want to do. The jaggery is richer, heavier, and more caramel-like in flavor, right? It's dense with nutrients and also dense with like some minerals. You know, you can actually see like the minerals in it, you know, some of the iron and all these different things just by its color because it's got that molasses that's left into it. It's not processed like regular white sugar. The mishri is also retains some nutrition, but it's just a lighter kind of a sugar. Now I'm going to be putting about a teaspoonful. Let me show you what I just did here. I'm putting a teaspoonful of my ashwagandha ghee right in here. There you go. And then I'm also going to take about a teaspoonful, or you can use however much you like here, of the mishri, and I'm going to just add that to it, and that will dissolve very quickly. It'll break down, and now we have this lovely milk, and I'm going to actually sprinkle on the top of this a little bit. There you go, of some grated nutmeg. Excuse me one second, let me turn that off. There we go. So now this is your beautiful moon milk. Can you all see that okay? That's it.
Now, Alana, how would
yeah.
you feel about using the ashwagandha powder instead of the ashwagandha ghee?
I think it's a great idea. You can absolutely do that. And in fact, that's what the next recipe does. You guys, Courtney, actually, I think she sent you a link to the handout, right? Or link to the recipes. There's a handout that, yeah, there's a handout with this class. Ooh. There we go.
I can drop it in the chat again as well.
Okay. Uh-oh.
See it in the email.
There we go. Yeah. Are you guys there? Yeah. Yeah. So definitely you can use that. And then you could just add a teaspoonful of ghee to it, you know, if you wanted to, or you could just use the ashwagandha powder on its own. You know, depends on what you're doing or what dosha you're trying to pacify. You know, if you are strong kapha dosha, you know, just a little bit of the ghee, you know, maybe half a teaspoon would be fine. If you're vata and pitta dosha, the ghee added to it, if we're just talking about the regular ghee, right? Just the original ghee, you can go ahead and use more because it was really going to help you to keep your doshas in balance. In balance. So good. Any other thoughts? Courtney, am I missing anything in the chat?
No, but Vicky says, please keep talking about sugar. It's her weakness.
Please keep talking about sugar. It's really what?
It's her weakness.
That's what she you and a lot of people, right? You know, did I tell you guys, cheers? I feel guilty drinking this without you, but I'll just taste it.
Cheers.
Yum. It's so good. Yum.
How much moon milk have you had this week?
Actually, I must confess, I had a moon milk yesterday too. I think the day before. So I have to tell you, when I was at the Ayurveda conference, the Nama Ayurveda conference recently in North Carolina with Sandeep in April, there was this wonderful Ayurvedic doctor there from India. And, you know, there's a lot of people who had come from India and around the United States to be part of this conference, right? And, you know, we have this, our Ayurveda jaggery, which is amazing. And Sandeep had it out there and people were coming, they were getting samples of this. And somebody was talking about, you know, sugar and why it is, you know, that in the West, we just have this great fear of sugar. And this doctor from India there, he said, this is craziness, you know, because of course you don't just go eating a bunch of white sugar, but that he said the sugar, the natural sugars are very good for the vata and the pitta, and even the kapha needs that raw honey, can benefit from it. And he was saying that, you know, every cell in the body needs that sugar, that the brain needs the sugar. So to just stay away from it like it's poison, you know, is crazy. It doesn't make any, it didn't make any sense to him, you know, not just using Domino's sugar and eating a lot of that doesn't make sense. But to be nervous about putting some jaggery or some maple syrup in your your hot moon milk or on your, pancakes or whatever doesn't make any sense to him. So just all things in moderation and according to what is specifically needed by the person. But we have to acknowledge that in Ayurveda, they do not avoid sugar, and this has been thousands and thousands and thousands of years, by the way, too, only for kapha dosha do they say honey is the best, because honey is not just sweet, but it is also astringent. And the honey must be raw, cannot be boiled. So
Sandeep actually has a small glass jar in his car that has mishri and cardamom pods in it, and he just like snacks on them when he's driving.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's mishri and cardamom pods.
Yeah, he'll like bite
green
them.
cardamom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see what Alice is saying here. Sugar is not great
Alicia.
for me or any sweetener, but I am more vata, so this is interesting. Well, everybody is unique, Alicia. So if it's not great for you and it bothers you or you have an imbalance, then definitely don't use it. Are you able to do sugar in the form of fruit? Yes. Okay, fruit is great. That gives you great sugar right there. And it comes with minerals and vitamins and fiber. So that's perfect, because it's a wonderful form of sugar. Yeah, no, we all have to take into consideration exactly who we are. I mean, I'm as a young person, I was a Pitta Kapha body type. And then as I've gotten older, I still have my Pitta and my Kapha, but I also Vata has come up, and that is normal as you get older, that Vata becomes more prevalent. So as I've gotten older, I've started more to take care of Vata dosha. So I find myself using more sweetener than I would have allowed myself in the past when I was trying to keep kapha at bay, because I can gain a lot of weight if I'm not careful, right? So I would use just local raw honey. But now, I use things like this and I don't have a problem as much with it. And I don't seem to put weight on when I do, but I still am very careful about too many fats for my body. And I only use traditional fats when I cook and when I eat. So butter and ghee primarily. And then I use things like olive oil and nuts and seeds and avocados and things, but I'm moderate in that. So we all have to do what we have to do. So very good. Any other? Thank you, Alicia. Anybody else? Oh, I love the horse. Thank you, Vicki. Anybody else have any other thoughts or do you think that you might be interested in trying a moon milk at home? Is anybody having any trouble sourcing a good quality milk by any chance?
I get raw milk.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you're not able to source good milk, do let us know. Raise your hand or say so in the chat. You can. There's the Weston A. Price Foundation is a foundation that was created, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years ago, to connect people with their local farmers. And there are chapters in the back and on their website where you can actually find out where to find great sources of milk or raw milk in your area. Some states it's perfectly legal to sell it, in other states it's not. You'd have to get a cow share, or you can go to a local farmer's market and find out, oftentimes the farmers there will have great milk, and it'll just be very gently pasteurized instead of flash pasteurized, or pasteurized for a long period of time at a really high temperature.
Can I tell
they won't homogenize. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my short story is that I actually met Sandeep because I was looking for good milk.
No kidding. Tell us.
The longer story of that is I became a birth doula back in 2011. And the first lady that I, became a doula for, she she lived out in the country and she didn't have a lot of money. And she asked if she could, instead of paying me, just give me a gallon of milk from their cow while she was in milk, which was like about a year. And I was like, I already loved milk and loved dairy and thought that was amazing to get fresh milk. So I was like, yes, of course. Okay. But so I had fresh milk every week for a year from this family. Then they dried up their cow, they like gave her a rest, and I was addicted to raw milk by then. And I was Googling how to find a different source of raw milk. And so I found, I just dropped a link in the chat. I found this website, realmilk.com.
Yeah.
Which is put out by the Weston A. Price Foundation. Yep. And then I found an entire community of like-minded people. And then I went to that was my first year that I went to the Weston A. Price conference. And then I met Sandeep.
That is perfect. That's awesome, Courtney. I didn't know that. Yay. Yeah. That's great. Good. Thank you.
Here we are, like,
so let's see. I think, let's see. So Vicki says she will definitely try the moon milk. Yay. It sounds yummy. It is. It's delicious. I've done it.
A comfort food.
What's that?
It's like a comfort food.
Very much so. And I'll actually do it. I will do it actually in the morning too. It's like it's part of my morning routine often. It's great before bed, but you can also do it in the morning. And I love it too in the morning. It's great before I eat anything. I'll just have a cup of hot moon milk. Is it still moon milk or sun milk? I don't know. I will too. You made it look so easy. Thank you so much. You're so welcome, Janine. Thank you. And Alicia says she has done golden milk, but she loves the idea of moon milk, right? Because they're so similar. It's kind of almost the same thing there, right? Yeah. So that's great. Well, you guys, thank you so much. So much. Yes, good. Good. Teresa buys A2 milk weekly. Yes, it's a great use for it. Yeah, good. Excellent. And if you don't have ashwagandha ghee, but you have regular ghee, you can use it. Or if you have any of the other herbal ghees at home that are specific for your particular body type, you can use any of them in this, including, turmeric super ghee. And if you were to use that, like a spoonful or half a teaspoonful of the turmeric super ghee, then you do not need to add turmeric to this, but you could still add a little bit of black pepper, and that would be great. So good. All right. Anybody else? All right, Courtney, I guess we're done.
So, all right. Thank you guys for joining us. Our next class is going to be next Thursday, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Alana is going to do tandoori chicken. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to do just a real quick, tandoori spiced chicken with some Worcestershire sauce. It's so good. And it's real quick. It's a quick thing, well, it's quick on the stovetop, and then I put it in the oven to kind of finish cooking it. So, but I wanted to show it to you because it really makes a great lunch too. So
we also have been wanting to do a recipe with tamarind. Does it have tamarind?
Oh, and I could do that. We could change that around, since the other might be kind of too hot for people who don't want to turn their oven on, but I'll leave that up to you, Courtney. We can do tamarind as well.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think we have tamarind as a class coming up, even if the next one's tandoori chicken, but I think we'll do tamarind sometime soon. And then I wanted to ask you guys if you guys had any other what
else would you like to see
to explore?
Any other ideas you want us to talk about?
If you think of something, you can always email us. So we'll see it. All right.
Perfect.
That's
okay. All right. Spice blends. There you go. All right. Spice blends. We could do a class on the different spice blends and even a DIY. What's that?
I'm agreeing with you. We could, that would be a fun one.
It would be, yeah, with a recipe. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.